Welcome to the ABQ Show, live from Dream Style Arena, the pit. Wally Drangmeister here with a guest, Tanya Armenta, Visit Albuquerque. Welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Great to be here, and what a great backdrop.
Oh, you know, it's one of those, it's interesting when your job is to get people to come to Albuquerque, and it seems like you've done a pretty darn good job today.
Yeah, we're going to take credit for all of this. Honestly, it is a good partnership with New Mexico Activities Association to host. We're thrilled that it's honored to host it in Albuquerque each year.
Yeah, you know, this is just such a fantastic event, and it really, I almost liken it to, it's almost like the New Mexico family reunion. You know, people that you don't see for a year, you can come to the state tournament, watch some fantastic basketball and see what's going on.
Right,
so.
Yeah, and great games. I've loved the buzzer beaters and the dramatic finishes to some of these games, so
yeah.
it's great to host it here.
No, absolutely. So I thought we could talk a little bit about, we know why people are here today, but there for the state tournament, but Albuquerque has so much to offer. I just wanted for people who are here, the kind of staycation thing, them as the ABQ show, and also people that are also New Mexicans, you know, there's things they think about Albuquerque, but they may not know of all of it. So I just wanted to start off with there is, what would you say is something that a lot of people don't realize Albuquerque has to offer? What's an example?
Well, for sure, when you're talking about out-of-state visitors, I think the most surprising thing to people is that we are a high desert. So we have mountains.
Yes.
And so people come here thinking that we're going to be very similar to Arizona, and they're really surprised when they get here, and we have elevation, we have mountains, we have great hiking. So that's probably the biggest surprise, I would say, for out-of-state visitors.
Yes.
In-state visitors, I think this is a great opportunity for people from across the state to come and be reminded. Albuquerque has changed a lot in the last couple of years. There's new restaurants, there's new attractions, there's new entertainment venues, and so it's a great chance to re-expose, kind of, expose people to new side of Albuquerque.
Yeah. So I have a few categories that I got off of your website, and I just love to hear your perspective and your thoughts. I have some as well, and if you think they're good, you can nod. If not, just shake your head and I'll move on.
Sounds fair.
All right. Well, you know, in the arts, you know, one of my favorite things to do is to just go walk through Old Town. You know, there's some fantastic arts there in terms of graphic arts, jewelry, pottery, and others. What's another idea about arts in Albuquerque that you've seen that people might be interested in?
I mean, really the combination of traditional arts, so all of the jewelry and the pottery and things that you've mentioned, but also contemporary art. So there's a lot. That scene is really coming on strong in Albuquerque. One of my favorite things from this last year is the murals, the public art and all of the murals, the visual arts that have been added to Albuquerque, and now there's a new website, morosabq.org or .com, that you can see all of that. And somebody did that as a personal favor to Albuquerque. They did that as a passion for the city because they just appreciate it so much. Oh,
well, that's fantastic. And yeah, we've had a guest on. I was visiting with you before. Her last name is Jesus, and she's a muralist. And so, yeah, she's taken that and looked to me like she was really on the cutting edge of that. So. Now, I know there's a lot of history in Albuquerque, and there's the Natural History Museum's the easy one. What's something else in that category that you think people ought to consider?
Well, I think right now the 50th anniversary of the Nuclear Museum, it's the 50th anniversary of the Nuclear Museum. I think that's really something that people don't necessarily associate with Albuquerque, so I think it's an opportunity to kind of go back if you haven't taken your kids or your family to see the National Museum of Nuclear Science. This is a great year to do that. I also think the history, just the blending of the cultures, and so another visit to the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. If there is so much that's growing and changing in that whole district near the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center along 12th Street, great opportunity to be re-exposed to that. And of course, we're the home to the National Hispanic Cultural Center as well. So there's so much happening there with a lot of different exhibits. So the history, when I think of history and culture, I think of those as the blending really of the unique nature of Albuquerque and New Mexico.
Yeah, first I went through Leadership New Mexico with Jerry Smith, is a Laguna, and they have that 12th Street kind of corridor there off of the freeway. A lot of cool things are happening. You know, you have Laguna Burger, but it's kind of turning into a vibrant area in town that hasn't been for a long time.
Absolutely. New restaurant, 66 Acres, that Myra Gaddis opened.
Yes.
Of Slate Street, brand new restaurant there as well. So yeah, that whole area, it's very exciting what's happening there.
All right. Now, cuisine, most New Mexicans know about New Mexican food. what's some things that you think that somebody in Albuquerque around the state might be interested cuisine-wise in Albuquerque?
Well, Bobby Flay said that we have the hottest food destination, claims that New Mexico is the hottest food destination up and coming. So I think to be reminded how special our cuisine really is. I think I love to hear locals. I always love their favorite place to get, where is their favorite place to get New Mexican food. I also think all of the kind of the new cuisine that's being done. So there's some great restaurants in the Diehl area.
Yes.
I think just kind of a variety of options along Albuquerque that are new, and people that are doing really unique things, and the breweries that are bringing in some really great food trucks and offering that as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned the breweries. That's a very interesting scene that's really come along with some enabling legislation a few years ago, but the key is it's just enabling. That industry has really taken the ball and run with it. There's a lot of beer, and I know that there's some Albuquerque brands now that are so popular, people leave and they want to get that, and so they have it exported. So fantastic. So film is important here in New Mexico, and Albuquerque is great. We are, I don't want to say we are beyond Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Those are still fantastic attractions, and Better Call Saul is still going. What are some things that if people want to come here, in the film tours that you've seen? Now, I do know that, seeing the RV to do the Breaking Bad tour, that's good, but there's some other things that you've seen that would be interested, people that are interested in cinema and film.
Well, without a doubt. I mean, the trolley company, they are offering tours to film locations, so that's a really great opportunity, is to ride the trolley to film locations.
Yes.
And one of the co-owners previously worked for the film office, so nobody better in terms of understanding how that industry works, and the opportunity to go visit. Downtown, right outside my office today, the streets were closed down because they were filming a movie, so that's the other thing, is that you can kind of be on set or on location without even realizing it in Albuquerque, because so much is happening here right now.
Yeah, a number of years ago they did some apocalyptic sort of movie, and there's all these burned out cars downtown in front of my office, and somebody came, it's like, oh, we've been having a bad day here, but no, it's like a movie that happened. So now there is just such a rich history, and you mentioned the nuclear museum. That's a fantastic thing, and to be honest, I have not been there since it moved. It's right up on my house. I drive by it every day. I'm going to do that again. What are some other options if you're interested in science technology? Because, there's such a rich history of that here in New Mexico.
Well, without a doubt, I think you mentioned the Natural History Museum. I think they've got some wonderful exhibits at the Natural History Museum, always changing exhibits as well. And then you can, that science opportunity there, combined the nuclear museum, something exciting happened there.
Those are those people that we've been bringing to Albuquerque, and they're happy.
Yeah. I also think, something exciting that from a tourism standpoint is changing the downtown industry is the downtown experience is Innovate ABQ and all that's happening with entrepreneurs and the innovation economy downtown. So that's something that you can kind of see alive and well right now when you're in downtown Albuquerque. Yeah,
and in a shout out, and I've talked about this on the show several times, there is this very rich community of entrepreneurs really developing around the downtown area, and my suggestion is if you come to Albuquerque, you could do and you are interested in business and entrepreneurship, the 1 Million Cups thing, if you go to that on Wednesday morning, that's just a fantastic place to see and be seen, hear what's going on. I think the quality of networking you can do, and that's fantastic, and that's along the lines of what you're talking about with the entrepreneurial scene.
Absolutely.
All right, now, I just want to say children are important. I have grandchildren now, and we love the attractions here. They live in San Diego, and I do like the San Diego Zoo. I'm not dissing the San Diego Zoo, anybody out there, but the Albuquerque Zoo is fantastic. It really is. It's of a size and scope where you don't have to walk 100 miles to see a ton of animals. What are some other things you think that families with children ought to really consider in our great town? Well,
our biopark, without a doubt. The combination of the zoo, the aquarium, all that entire facility is something that we can really be proud of. I think in combination with that, I would say Explora.
Yes.
the Explorer Museum in Old Town, another really top-notch museum that does just a fabulous, children always have such a fun time there, and their parents as well. That's some place that we always find that no matter your age, you really enjoy Explorer. I think also there's an opportunity from an educational standpoint. We find that a lot of families, when they come to Albuquerque, do enjoy going to the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center and the National Hispanic Cultural Center, because that's exposing their kids to things that they're not going to get anywhere else. And then the opportunity, we have such a great outdoor recreation, so the opportunity to take the tram and to climb, kind of hike along the top of the Sandia Mountains, all of that makes for, we just find that we're really finding a lot of families coming here saying, we've been to Disney, we've done all of that, and we're looking for something that's just a bit more down to earth, and a little bit more educational and just relaxing, and they're having a great time in Albuquerque.
No, that sounds fantastic. So when we come back in the second session, and let me get our producers' attention. When we come back in the second session, I want to visit with you more. I know you have some planning tools and techniques, because we've said so many things. How can you narrow it down?
Right.
How can you see what you want to do? So we're visiting with Tanya Armenta. Visit albuquerque.org on the ABQ show. We are going to turn around and watch the basketball game for just a second, take a quick break. Stay tuned.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every ProView Network broadcast live on the NFHS network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProViewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best.
The service department at Gala Chevrolet is clean, modern, and ready for you. Our master technicians service every make and model, including certified service on any GM vehicle. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Hey, welcome back. Wally Drangmeister here at Dream Style Arena, the pit with Tanya Armenta. Visit Albuquerque. We've been having a great conversation about some of the cool things to do in Albuquerque, and frankly, Tanya, I am overwhelmed. So I know you have some tools to help people decide. Talk about if you're coming to Albuquerque, whether from in the state, out of the region, what are some of the tools that you have that can help people figure out what they would most want to see in our great city?
Well, first and foremost, I would recommend our website. Visit albuquerque.org or visit abq.org.
Yeah, both work.
Both work.
Yes.
They both get you to our website. I also think all of our social media channels to follow us on at Visit Albuquerque. That's pretty much our handle on any of the social channels. So that's going to give you an update of things just in a timely basis. On our website, we have a calendar of events. It's called ABQ 365. It's going to give you everything that's happening tonight, this weekend, 9 months from now. Yep. So it covers really a wide spectrum of things to do in Albuquerque. We also have our hot off the press, our 2019 official vacation guide, visitor's guide. So you can pick this up when you fly into the Sunport. We have an Old Town Visitor Information Center, and we have one downtown as well.
Okay, great.
So you can also request that online. So those are some of the top resources, I think. Really, I think the website is probably your best bet.
All right, very good. Okay, so a few other categories that I had, and man, you're good. You know your stuff, so I spent a long time on my homework. Talk a little bit about Route 66 and the neighborhoods. That's, Route 66 has always been an attraction. It continues to be, but it seems like it's morphing. I've seen people talk about like our mid-century modern architecture, and there's some kind of new things. What are your thoughts about that? It seems like our neighborhoods are coming into their own a little bit, which has not necessarily always been the way it's been in Albuquerque.
Absolutely. Well, we have the longest intact stretch in an urban area, 18 miles of Route 66, yes. So that always makes us an important stop for those aficionados of Route 66. They look forward to coming to Albuquerque. I do think there's kind of a new respect and an honoring of Route 66. So to see El Vado be transformed and brought back online,
yes.
And that whole experience down there with retail and hotel opportunities and a brewery and sit outside on the patio, it's just fabulous. I also think all of the neon that's coming back on Route 66 to be restored and to be reintroduced to it. There's just so much, I think, from the history, but also kind of this new energy that's happening. And you can take tours. Now there's a tour company in town that'll take you to see modern, mid-century
yes.
architecture. And so they're doing those, and new tour companies that are popping up with those experiences in a number of different areas. So they'll take you out and explore Albuquerque with all kinds of different kind of niche interests.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned the El Vado, so I cannot resist. So this is the Wally tour. This is I love to, particularly when I'm not in the best shape, which I'm not right now, I love to ride my mountain bike in the Bosque because there's both kind of a semi-improved kind of non-paved trails and dirt trails, and I just absolutely love to go ride, somewhere between 8 and 10 miles. But then when I get back there's a nice parking place there at Central in the Bosque. I love to go to those restaurants at El Vado. They're fantastic. And if somebody hasn't been to that new El Vado to see what that's like, that is just one of the coolest happening places that I've been. And what's so nice about it is it is very historic, and how they restored it. They were very true to a lot of the architecture, but it also has all the new cool food locations. The shops there are fantastic as well. So.
Absolutely. I think to sit out there as the weather gets warmer, to sit out on the patio and to explore all that is there now at El Vado, make you really proud of Albuquerque and what those developers did to restore a really important
yes.
part of our history.
Yes. So I'm also I like staycations. I think I might take one there as well. So. All right, well, before we leave, any other places that you just think secret gems out there, and any final thoughts for our viewers?
No, a couple of things. We're about to have the Turquoise Museum open downtown. It's grand opening. They moved from Old Town and they closed operations for a few months. They're moving into the old iconic, what's been known as the Gertrude Zachary Castle, into the castle downtown.
Wow.
So that's happening next month. I mentioned the 50th anniversary of the Nuclear Museum. We're about to get the new restaurant up at the top of the Sandia Peak Tramway.
Yeah, that's
soon to be, by the end of the spring. I think we'll see that come online. So I think there's just so much happening in Albuquerque that it's time to re-explore it.
All right, very good. Well, that's it for this segment of the ABQ show live from Dream Style Arena. Wally Drangmaster visiting with Tanya Armenta. Visit albuquerque.org. Tanya, thank you very much. It was great.
Very fun.
What is glamour? frailty? What is desire? Time